Take the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Here.
Councilmember Bax.
Councilmember Bax is excused.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Miles,
Here.
Councilmember Zajac. Here. Council Chairperson Karen.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, David Zajac will lead us in our prayer and opening exercise today.
Lord, today we ask for your common love in a time of uncertainty, chaos, and turbulence in our state, our country, and in our world. We ask for your guidance as we look to make decisions that affect all that we have sworn to uphold and defend. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path and help us to stay on track. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. The time is 6:03 p.m. We'll now have a hearing, a public hearing relative to the resolution concerning the proposed adoption of the local law entitled Regulation of Student Housing in R1 and R2 zoning districts that would amend the city zoning ordinance following the recommendations of the City Planning Board. Liz, would you please call the first speaker?
Our first speaker is Frank Hanley.
So I know it's already in the process of things, but my question is simple. If you can't control it where it is, I know that the agenda item speaks to R1 and R2, but that comes with the purpose of the Niagara students moving from DeVoe coming over into the city. My complaint has been, since I've heard of it, is if you can't control it in DeVoe, when you make these adjustments into where they're going to flood, it's not I don't think it's a wiser choice. You're going to put them in the block where drugs already exist. It's already oversaturated with people who are present within the city. And I just think that it's not a wise choice. I understand the inconvenience of those who are in DeVoe. I comprehend it. But I would prefer us to find a different resolve of how we can better handle within you and those things effectively before we make a decision to change the zoning so abruptly for that reason. I know this because I'm on the planning board, so I'm aware of the reason why this adjustment is trying to happen. So I just think that there needs to be more due diligence done on how we can better handle the Niagara University students and what the city can collaborate with to make a more efficient transition before we willingly just go with this transformation of changing the R1 and R2 situation with the background knowledge. And I think that the way I kind of got it set up here on tonight is missing the background story to why, in my personal opinion. On the agenda is just, oh, we just want to change R1 and R2, but you're not telling us the reason why. So it's a public hearing, but without full information. So my opinion, thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Lawrence Blaver Jr.
Evening. My concern with this is I just took my real estate re-education courses, so this is rather fresh. Whatever zoning ordinances are being planned, a lot of thought has to go into violating the 9 protected classes when we're trying to figure out how you tell people who they can rent to and who they can't, to try and shift the students from this area. This rezoning may I haven't brushed up on the details, but there are 9 protected classes. You can't do it by age, you can't do it by sex and gender, you can't do it by income. So you got to be really careful and just know you're going to open yourself up to counter lawsuits, because I remember during the debate over the turtle, Councilman Miles stated one of the reasons he voted against its preservation is the decision to try and make it a preservation was done without the willingness of the owners of the property, and that it was a concern. And that's what you would be doing here, is you're trying to tell investors who are buying properties who they can rent to and who they can't. You're going to tell current owners who they can rent to and who they can't. Now, that doesn't sound like capitalism to me. That doesn't sound like the kind of thing that a city should be able to tell a property owner to do, to be able to do. So I wish you guys the best of luck, but I think it's going to be a heck of a needle to thread for the legal team for the city to pull that off. So that's all I just wanted to make you guys aware of.
Our next speaker is Bill Kennedy.
Hello, council members. I'm Bill Kennedy. I live in DeVoe on Wyoming Avenue. You have no idea what it's like to have 200 kids running up and down your street and carrying on like crazy people. Bonfires going on. The house next door to me burned down with a kid inside it. Are you checking out the building permits, the extra rooms that are being put in these places? That's all I have to say. I urge you to pass this. It's a good bill, and it's worked in other cities with no problems. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Christopher Sheffield.
Good evening, council members. I'm Christopher Sheffield, Vice President for Student Affairs at Niagara University. And on behalf of the university, I express my deep gratitude for the opportunity to address you this evening regarding the resolution entitled Regulation of Student Housing in R1 and R2 zoning districts. This issue is of profound importance, and we fully acknowledge the concerns that have been raised by residents over the years, particularly with regard to the proliferation of short-term rentals and the increasing density of student housing in the DeVoe community. As a longstanding and deeply invested member of the community, Niagara University is resolute in its commitment to being a responsible neighbor and a collaborative partner with the city of Niagara Falls. While the overwhelming majority of our students are respectful, conscientious, and make meaningful contributions to the social and economic fabric of this great city, we recognize that a minority of students have caused disruptions in the DeVoe neighborhood. These disruptions have persisted for decades and in recent years escalated. Let me be clear, such behaviors are entirely inconsistent with the values of Niagara University and are not and will not be condoned. At the same time, it is crucial to emphasize the far-reaching and positive contributions that Niagara University students make to Niagara Falls and the broader region. From frequenting local businesses to dedicating thousands of hours annually to community service projects aimed at fostering systemic change, our students are indispensable to the vitality of the city's economy and social fabric. Their presence supports local jobs, stimulates commerce, and drives growth across many sectors. Nevertheless, we fully understand that these contributions cannot and must not come at the expense of the quality of life for local residents. In this light, Niagara University unequivocally supports the proposed zoning regulation. It represents a judicious and necessary step toward rebalancing the dynamic, restoring harmony within the DeVoe neighborhood, and reshaping the public perception to reflect all the good that Niagara students do locally and regionally. Looking ahead, Niagara University remains steadfast in its commitment to working in close partnership with Mayor Restaino and his administration to pursue long-term, sustainable housing solutions that benefit both our students and the community at large. Together, we are exploring the development of student housing in the north end of Niagara Falls, an initiative we believe will not only strengthen the university's foundation, but will also enhance our relationship with the city, contribute meaningfully to its economic revitalization, and improve the overall well-being of the region. Our shared vision is unmistakable: to ensure that Niagara Falls is vibrant, welcoming, and prosperous for all who call it home. Niagara University is fully committed to this vision and to working as a constructive and devoted partner in achieving it. Thank you for your time, your thoughtful consideration, and your enduring commitment to our shared future.
Our next speaker is Mike Marion. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Benson Colley.
Illustrious Council, Vincent Cawley, thank you to NU for being in attendance. That's beautiful. With all due respect to the residents and DeVoe, I understand you don't want Project X happening right next door. You don't want no craziness going on, and I'm totally 100% with that. But I believe in this case, I grew up with cockroaches. You know, when you see a cockroach, you know you want to step on it with a shoe. And I'm not considering kids are cockroaches, but you don't go to the army and ask for a grenade. You don't get a shotgun. You just step on it. You know what I'm saying is this may be just a tad bit overkill for a handful, as we just heard, a handful of students. I believe here are some other perspectives we need to keep in mind. Number one, the business perspective. We just had a real estate agent here. When you decrease the demand, when you decrease the supply of any good, I'll ask you, what happens to the price of that good? We're decreasing the supply of in a particular area to be walled off. What do we think is going to happen to the price of that good that's in DeVoe and around the city? It's going to go up. I believe that's going to be a business change that we don't want. Houses are already more expensive. We don't need them to go higher. There are solutions. I'm about solutions. My background is engineering. I'm getting to the solutions. But let's identify the problem correctly. So we have a handful of students that's dictating what's going on. And whether or not good students, good hearts, but it's finding the right solution that's comprehensive, looking at the whole ball from a 360 degree. So number one, could it be overkill? All due respect. Number two, supply and demand. Number three, could we get code enforcement? We just heard there's possible building violations. Have we leaned on code enforcement to have them step in? And if we have, what happened? If we haven't, why not? So that's that's code enforcement. The next step is law enforcement. What have we done law enforcement wise? I love the cops. No one can ever take that away from me. I stick behind them, back to blue, no question, don't even try it. But law enforcement, can we get them involved? Can we take meaningful steps to squash the fires instead of letting the fire burn into a conflagration? So that's just some of the ideas that I have. Law enforcement, getting them involved seriously. Code enforcement. And another option, why don't we have a community, because by the way, I've been to the meetings that were at Maple. I've been to those meetings. Good meetings, great dialogue, great interaction. I felt the hearts. But now it's time to come to the work, and that's the solution of this thing. So again, law enforcement perspective, the code enforcement perspective, the community perspective. I've seen some of the NU kids, but let's get some of the kids that we feel that you get from law enforcement, that you pick up from code enforcement, and let's just have a dialogue with the neighbor. Hey, kids, I know you want to have fun. I know you want to party, but let's do this. Let's try this. Let's get together and say this. If you cut off the party at this time, we'll allow it to go. Be happy neighbors. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, Highly Ho neighbor. I'm talking about collaboration, working together to solve an issue, not just taking a sledgehammer to a cockroach. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Our last speaker is Sharon Bailey. Good evening, council members. I stand before you in full support of the proposed zoning amendment, which is aimed to ensure affordability, accessibility, and tranquility in all our neighborhoods. This is a citywide amendment. The brunt of the issues may be in DeVoe, but I know that there are investors that are moving into other working class and middle class neighborhoods in the city. Our community, this amendment doesn't seek to penalize the university student. That being said, our community's fundamental principles should be centered on the well-being of its residents, leveraging financial prospects provided by home ownership, and ensuring safe and affordable housing for them, as well as protecting public safety. This proposed amendment aims to curb investors' exploitation of our housing market. The student housing industry, and it is an industry, has proven to be beneficial for investors, property owners, allowing them to expand their real estate portfolios and ensuring financial security for their families. Conversely, off-campus student housing and the industry has adversely affected many residents, reducing their housing options. The lack of adequate housing and the rise of investors purchasing homes in these middle-class neighborhoods and working-class neighborhoods and high prices, they are buying them for cash, which is elevating the actual value of the home, is making it very challenging for first-time home buyers and families who are trying to secure a home for their families. The shortage of suitable housing hinders the ability for hardworking people to build the type of generational wealth home ownership provides. This amendment is vital for protecting our single and two-family dwelling stock and ensuring the public safety. Someone spoke about getting law enforcement involved, and that actually is the problem. Every time the police have to be called to address quality of life issues or student misbehavior, those are resources that need to be directed elsewhere. And so this amendment actually will allow the university the leverage and the responsibility it needs and wants to maintain a relationship with the community and also give the students, what they need. This amendment benefits the students and the university in their social and their financial advantages. Room and board fees on campus generate income for the university programs and the facilities. And this increase in students living off campus has a negative financial impact on the university programs, and it reduces their revenue stream. Enrollment and retention can be improved by providing on-campus housing and also university-owned housing off campus, as students commonly favor the ease and sense of community that accompanies living in campus-provided housing. The presence of a centralized and university-owned housing allows for streamlined management of utilities and other operational services, which would result in reduction of the police resources being allocated to deal with student misconduct. University housing, whether it's located on campus or off campus, plays a crucial role in creating a campus community. It also plays a crucial role in creating the community at large, and it makes it more appealing to faculty and staff at the university. This proposed ordinance is a positive step toward affordability, accessibility, and an enhanced quality of life for both residents and students. This isn't an indictment on students, but as a homeowner, I didn't buy my house to be disrupted. We deserve to have a quality of life. We deserve to not have our lawns urinated on. We deserve to have quiet evenings. And I went to college and I lived in an apartment. But my home is my castle. And these investors are renting to students at a higher rate than they could at a family. They can charge a student $1,000 per student, but a family $1,200. So the financial incentive is too good to pass up. and this ordinance will help mitigate that and open up. Thank you.
Okay, the public hearing is concluded at 6:22. Thank you.
Being that it's a public hearing,
That's it.
is that
That's it.
is there any, can there be any dialogue
No, that's
from
it.
council?
No, it's closed.
Next item is section 3, presentation and public speaking.
That's pointless.
That's it. Okay, next item is the presentation on public speakers. The presentation, Niagara Falls Tourism Update by John Percy, President and CEO of Destination Niagara, USA. Welcome, John. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity, as always, to be before you to give you an update. Would hope it would have been earlier this year, but we are post the prime summer season, so it's a good time as well. Before you in your packet is the first sheet that is just recently updated, giving tourism impact numbers for 2023. We just received tourism economic numbers. They are produced by I Love New York in New York State. They do it for every county in New York State. It is one of the most credible and legitimate research companies in our industry, probably the best. They are based out of Philadelphia, and do this through tax receipts and so forth, very legitimate. So in 2022, tourism spending was at $969 million for the entire county. We are $31 million shy of $1 billion. These numbers now show we have surpassed $1 billion in this county for the first time ever in the history of Niagara Falls and Niagara County. I never thought I would ever see it in my lifetime as the ambassador of the tourism brand and as the leader of this organization. We now are at $1.082 billion in tourism spending. Probably, if I need to find the agriculture numbers, but I believe we are now the #1 industry in this county. We are a strong economic driver, and these numbers are 11.7% increase over 2022. Local taxes generated is almost $60 million. It's not on this sheet, but every household in this county, if tourism was not as strong as it is, would be paying an additional $1,205 per household in taxes. Now that doesn't mean, I don't want to hear from people like, where's my $1,205 savings? I mean, you would be paying that additional $1,205 if tourism wasn't as strong as it is. Employment has now risen to almost 16,000 people. We're 24% of the total workforce in this county. And the other numbers are the conventions booked in 2023, totaling over $7 million in economic impact to this destination. Motor coach visitation at little over $1.75 million. Website visitation at little over 1.8 million people. And the number of articles that we produced about goodness and good stories about tourism in our community worldwide has generated over 469 million people have been exposed to those articles. This is just a quick glimpse, but very exciting for us to present to you this evening are those numbers. Also in your packet is the 2023 annual report on our organization. I will not go into detail in that report and let you read that at your leisure. What I am going to do is another quick update on the past summer. This is looks like the presentation before you on your right in your packet. STR is Smith Travel Research. They have narrowed that to just an acronym of STR Hotel Data. They're a company based out of Nashville, and they collect hotel data on our behalf. Occupancy in June was 80%, a 5.1% increase over June 2023. Average daily rate, a 1.1% increase, and RevPAR, revenue per available room to the hotel owner, ends up being at 6.2% increase over June of 2023. In July, a 3.6% increase over July 2023, at occupancy at 85.5%, average daily rate at $188, a 2.6% decrease from July 2023. So we're starting to see that nationally, that rates are starting to fall just ever so slightly. And revenue at $160, almost $61 per available room. That is a 1% increase over July of 2023. Year to date on the second page, 55.2% year to date occupancy overall. And that is this is through July, a 3.9% increase over 2023. Average daily rate, 3.2% increase over 2023, and RevPAR, a 7.2% increase over 2023. We are above the national average in June at 79.9%, and July at 86.2% over the national average. So we are very pleased with these numbers. We have seen revenge travel, if people have heard of that, but revenge travel is that revenge against being cooped up during COVID. Saw that heavily in 21 and in 22. Did not expect 23 to be as strong. It was even stronger than 22. These numbers are showing that we're not backing off from the demand that we've seen over the last couple of years. In fact, it keeps rising. And I believe we've stayed strong in the markets, in our marketing and advertising campaigns, and it's proven to be very well. Regional growth, this is from that economic report from Tourism Economics, is visitor spend, as I showed you earlier on the sheet, at, again, over $1 billion, 11.7% increase. State taxes from this county at over $50 million at a 13.3% increase, and local taxes again at $59 million, an 8.7% increase. Tourism generated labor income, both direct and indirect, at over $514 million of tourism generated labor income. This is a 9.2% share of all the counties and collectively, and a 14.3% in total. So again, it's showing that out of the 5 counties, that is Niagara, Erie, Orleans, Genesee, Wyoming, that's our vacation region, the Western New York or the Greater Niagara vacation region, we are the strongest as far as tax savings, labor income as per capita and percentage in this county, even over Buffalo and Erie County. The next page, the economic impact for 2024 from the Convention Center, we now manage that. I think you do know we took over the management of January 1st of 2022. That has been one of the best partnerships and relationships we have ever built from this agency. Through July in 2024, almost a $15 million economic impact to the destination with meetings and conventions and trade shows that take place in that building, 85 deaf-in events, almost 60,000 guests, and $2.78 million in definite revenue to the building, and tentative revenue at $131,000 so far moving forward. We had the best August since the building opened in 2004 at almost $500,000 in revenue, a 31% increase in budgeted revenue. Budgeted revenue was at $342,000 and almost hit a $500,000 mark in August. July and August in the past have not been great months for convention and meetings. Typically, they don't want to pay the rates, and the hotels have not been willing to work with convention and meeting planners because of the rates, and also the hotels do very well in a leisure basis or leisure transient, people that are passing through on a leisure basis, either family travel, couples travel, etc. But we have realized that Sunday through Thursday, the hotels are working with us. We've changed the mindset completely. Last year, July was our best July on record. This year, August, our best year on record. So we're very pleased with the numbers and the relationship that we have. The next page is our summer campaign, Discover Your Niagara, May 15th through August 15th through COVID. We typically backed off pre-COVID from doing any advertising in the summer period. But what we realized during COVID, we had to stay active. We had to stay in the forefront. We had to be present because everybody was going after the same consumer. We have continued that post-COVID, and it's proven to be very well. everybody's vying for the same consumer, the same visitor. So we stay active in the markets. We do almost 100% in digital advertising. And you'll see a couple of the examples here of Discover Your Niagara Falls. We target many cities, mainly within an 8-hour radius of drive traffic, but we also target Florida, Texas, California, others, where we see them coming up high in our request for information, or their request on our website, or their presence on our website. It's funny how digital advertising can change within a few hours, and we can move things ever so quickly. I've been around a long time where all we did was radio, television, and print, and how funny digital advertising is so definitive and can be tracked so much easier than those days that, I'm an old dog, so I've been around a long time. We also geofence local customers to ride the Niagara shuttle, the Discover Niagara shuttle. So while they're in the market, we can target them. That resulted, it's not on here, but almost 8,000 trips of people that did not know about the Discover Niagara shuttle, and they continued on to their trip through Niagara County. EDA grants, we received an EDA grant from I Love New York in the state. It's a federal grant that's being run through New York State, the Economic Development Agency of our federal government. I know, I'm almost done. And so here's an example. We are doing a lot more advertising in the convention and meetings market. All right, done, right? Thank you, sorry. Thank you all. I appreciate your support of our agency. I'm here at any time to answer any questions you may have. Thank you again for your attention. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. Sorry I went over. Thank you.
John, thank you very much. Appreciate it. That was a very good presentation. Okay, next we'll have speakers on the legislative items, agenda items. Liz, I assume you have a list.
Yes, sir. Our only speaker for all the agenda items this evening will be Vincent Collin.
Hello again.
Saying once again, we got these agenda items, the public did, the people did, on today, totally unacceptable. How was that even, why we shouldn't accept that as a city? We deserve better, we can do better, we can be better than this, Niagara Falls. We should not be getting these agenda items on the day of the meeting. Continuing on with that, number one. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, agenda number 1, 9 and 1, 7, 9, and 10. Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you. So going back to the agenda, so starting with the agenda, again, Niagara Falls, we can do better. Number 1, the 1.6 million. Do we have a tracker on how, just questions, do we have a tracker on how the funds have been spent, are being spent, have been allocated? Has any money been given to Center City? When I was up there, and even continue now, y'all right there? Okay, cool. People were asking me, Center City, we've been on a list for Center City. They had this list of people that they're supposed to be building, they're supposed to be fixing the houses. Has any of that money gone to Center City for them to do for them to complete the jobs that they started in the North End, in the income deprived areas? I would like to know the answer to that question, because I love Heart, Love, and Soul, but 1.6 million, Center City needs what, 50, 100,000, 200,000 to complete the jobs that they started, and the people out there are asking that question. Agenda item number 7. I was a little confused by this, so I'm just trying to understand. The Sentinel 1 funding is 45,000 during the next 3-year period, but then we have a subscription that are free of charge for 3 years to certain cities, but then we're saving $70,000. So, no offense to the one, but you say, I saved $500 on this suit, but maybe I spent $20,000 on the suit. How much are we spending on this agenda item? Is it $45,000? Is it some other number, just a little confused, just trying to figure out how much are we actually spending and what are we getting for it. Because when I think of cybersecurity and malware, $15,000 seems a lot to me, and maybe it's a minimum, maybe there's more. I am just curious on the clarification of where the money is coming from and what we're spending. Agenda item number 9, regarding the climate smart community change. I'm just curious as what does this do for our city? Because as someone who looks into, studies this, I mean, we go a couple blocks a stone's throw, we got some of the cleanest energy being produced, hydroelectric. God gave us a resource. Long as that water's flowing, we can stop the water from flowing, we can go full steam, we can go half steam. We're producing clean energy. So we could be the leaders of this, but are we gonna start doing business to increase solar and wind when 84% of the world's energy is based on oil, liquid natural gas, and natural fuel, so oil-based, fossil fuel-based? So that's like saying I own a Honda, that's like me buying the highest Tesla, and I can't afford the Honda that I got, but I want to buy a Tesla. Or I want to buy a Ferrari where the oil change is $18,000. So are we getting ourselves, is this leading us into a predicament where we're leading to blackouts and brownouts like they have in cities across America? What and why? Maybe it means nothing. Maybe it's just a show of good support for climate energy. But I believe maybe is something coming, or is this in response to we're going to start reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, but there's nothing to replace it because electricity must be generated 24/7, 365, or food spoil, people freeze, people die. So fossil fuels, we can develop technologies and propagate technologies to increase the efficiency, but right now we're just not there. We are just not there. Lastly, agenda item number 10. And blackouts is brownouts. Blackouts is, you don't have enough supply, so you're not generating enough energy. Brownouts, excessive demand. If we start going on all this electricity and we decrease the supply, again, supply and demand, we have blackouts and brownouts. Agenda item number 10. Again, this is just a real quick. I've been in a few meetings regarding our Beach Avenue Park, and that park is for the youth, the elderly, and the handicapped. So if we're really about appreciate it. Quality of life for people with disabilities. That's the name of this resolution. By having a park, we can improve their life to get out, to exercise, to do all that stuff. We can improve their quality of life. Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, sorry, okay. Okay, any administrative updates, Control? I'm sorry, anything?
None.
Nothing, okay, all right. Do we have anybody with, announcements, community happenings? Anybody?
Oh, yeah, Community Walk. Walk the Falls is Saturday, Underground Heritage Center, 10 o'clock, free and open to the public.
Okay. Anybody else? No? All right. The NAC is having Western Door Playhouse this Friday at 7:30 play, and Saturday at 7:30, and on Sunday at 2:30. Also September 27th, 28th, and 29th, 7:30 Friday and Saturday, and Sunday at 2:30. That's at the NAC. General admission $16, $14 for students and seniors. The NAC is a worthy cause. Be nice if you can get out there and support it. Okay, so I guess that's it for the announcements. All right, moving on. All right. Council, all right, moving on to section number 4. Agenda. Hard to hear? Okay, is that better? All right. All right, moving on to section 4, the proposed agenda. We've had the agenda since Friday. Oh, no, that's not right. Okay, we've had the agenda packet since Friday. Are there any motions to amend the agenda? I roll call vote.
Yeah, well, I have an issue with the agenda. I have a big issue with the agenda.
You have to speak.
Yes?
I can barely hear you from here.
Okay, I have an issue with the agenda. I submitted 3.
Are there, you have, is there a, right now, are there any motions to amend the agenda or
I
accept the
motion to
agenda?
amend the agenda because I have an issue.
Okay. You're asking to amend the agenda. Do you have
We need a motion for minutes. What is the motion?
the motion? You have a motion to amend the agenda. Okay. Do we have a second to?
I'll second.
Okay.
What is the motion?
Ask the person that made it.
Yeah, so before you can second it, you have to know what you seconded.
Okay, so then I can actually speak. Absolutely. So I submitted 3 separate resolutions in a timely manner, anywhere between 2 o'clock and 2:05 on Wednesday afternoon. And those amendments, those resolutions were supposed to be, on tonight's agenda. I'm a city councilman, I can do that. And Friday, once the packet was given to us at the last minute, it was told, I'm talking about this portion, that my resolutions violated the city charter. So I responded and asked what part of the city charter did my 3, and I have, for those of you who may be wondering, I have some of them out there so you can look through those. These are the exact resolutions that I sent to our corporation council. And to this day, I have not received a response. I haven't received a response.
After you made a motion, let me reply to your motion. You don't have to explain everything. You made a
Well,
motion.
you just asked me to explain it so he can get an understanding
Yeah,
since he seconded. But if you don't mind, because
That is not your motion.
what's the motion?
You wanna make a motion to walk on?
I already
item.
did. I said I made a motion to amend the agenda, and I gave my
Okay.
reason before he can second it.
What do you have? If you're gonna go into all those explanations, let me just explain right there. You didn't put on the items properly. You're supposed to notify the chair, legal counsel, and the clerk. Those 3. You
Okay,
did not do that properly.
So what happens is when I send an email, it is our legal responsibility to make sure that any, miswording or whatnot is done correctly so it can be placed on the agenda.
No,
Yes.
no. It is your responsibility to send it to me, the clerk, and counsel to get it on the agenda.
So
You did not do that.
Okay, so
And
a question. Can I ask a question because I'm responding to what you're saying. So what you're telling me is when you got the email and when Mr. Du Bois got the email, that wasn't enough.
That's correct. That was not enough.
So at the end of the day, so it's your job. No. It's your job to let me know in a timely manner. See, so this is what happens. There comes a time on a Wednesday afternoon when I'm handing in my stuff on time, in a timely manner, that you can reach back out to me, not Friday when you give us this, not when you already set yourself up for the agenda and you already ignore and everything, and then you say, well, you know, Mr. Miles, his part is not on the agenda because it violates. And then I asked you, and you still yet to this day have not responded. I'm getting a response from him. I asked you because you responded in the email. So at the end of the day, what's been happening is you've been overreaching. You've been very overreaching in your authority. You've been, and this is interference, whether you guys know it or not, you're interference with the legislative process. And also it's a lack of transparency due to the fact that you couldn't tell me prior to tonight. I said that when? I asked you Monday? So what happens is that's why the people don't have trust in our local government, because of stuff like this. And you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed solely because you spent your whole campaign on a lie.
Well, let me tell you something.
No, you don't have to tell me nothing because you said enough.
There
are emails that embarrass the whole council.
You were the one that called me. You were the one.
Okay.
I still have the text message up there. You were the one that called me a dummy.
I didn't call you a dummy. Come on.
So I'm gonna just
No,
drop
no,
it right
no.
there.
What happens is the reason. No, see, I think that's
The motion is, you want,
It's a problem.
you have walk-ons you want to put on the agenda? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a walk-on.
Mr. Chairman, to do a walk-on, you have to submit.
He runs the meeting. I thought you run the meeting, don't you? You run the meeting.
Excuse me, if I just have it quiet in the chamber so that they can get your, please.
He is legal counsel, Dante. You're out of order.
You know what's,
You're out of order, Dante.
How am I out of order?
He's legal counsel. You're out of order.
Hold on. See, the problem is the mayor running our meetings through him, through you.
You're out
So
of order.
that's this meeting is out of order.
This meeting
It's
is
unfortunate. Go ahead. I already said I know what I wanted to do. I'm asking
Are
to
you an
amend.
expert in Robert's rules?
Are you an expert in what you do? Because if you were, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now.
Depend on legal counsel.
Okay, listen.
Interpret.
I said what I said.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was interrupted. I need to provide counsel with legal advice. Respond to the accusation that was made against me, and then try to explore whether there's actually a walk-on motion being made. First of all, Article 3 of the City Charter, 3.2b, states, all proposed legislation and resolutions pertaining to the agenda shall be pre-filed for the council with the clerk no later than 11 a.m. on Thursday preceding the regularly scheduled council meeting. This is not the first time that Mr. Miles has violated that rule. He violated it last Wednesday when he sent out his email to news media, to everyone on the council, everyone except the critical person who is the clerk. It has to be filed with the clerk no later than 11 a.m. Now, Mr. Miles criticizes me because I got the email on Wednesday. First of all, the charter sets forth my duties. It is not my duty under the charter to act as Mr. Miles' editor, secretary, or courier. Even if it was so, I was out of the office all day Wednesday. I was on vacation. I was up in the air flying when Mr. Miles sent his email. When I came to work on Thursday morning, I had a 13-hour rush project for a contract. That's how I spent my entire day Thursday, 13 hours. When I returned to work Friday morning to work on the agenda, that was the first time I saw Mr. Miles' 3 emails. By then, it was too late. But more importantly, it's not my responsibility to do Mr. Miles' paperwork. I represent the council, not individual members. The council is a body. I represent the body as a whole. I'm not the personal attorney for any one of you individually. I'm sorry, Mr. Miles, you missed the deadline. I wasn't available to tip you off to it because I was up in the air flying. Okay.
So you being in the air flying is actually my fault. If you look at the timestamp.
Explain, sir, why your criticism of me is unfair. Because you assumed that I received the email on Wednesday and sat on it. And that's not true. That's not true because you didn't know it.
It's set for us to put the, set out, for us to submit it. I'm asking you a question. If it's set, okay, if it's set for us to send those documents in to him on a Wednesday, or Thursday, before 11 o'clock or whatever the case is, and I send it in on a Wednesday, just because he's in Aruba or flying in the air somewhere across or wherever, does that make that my fault? And did I miss the deadline because he came late?
The bottom line is, Dante, you did. Quiet.
Because it's twisted. It's twisted.
Dante,
It's
the
twisted.
bottom line is you did not send it to Liz. That's the bottom line.
Okay, so that's what we do. So what we do is we make we create these. You know,
Dante, you can blame you
we
can
create-
blame everybody in the world.
Okay.
Blame everybody in the
Okay.
world.
Okay.
Blame everybody else. It's
No,
never your fault.
No,
Blame
but you want me to tell you why you feel this way? Because
Blame
one of mine
everybody.
was asking you to resign from
Blame
chair
it-
because
blame
you're not
everybody.
doing what you're supposed to do.
No, you know what?
That's why you feel
not
that, and
even
the
an
reason
agenda
why he
item.
feels the way is because I'm
That-
asking for legal counsel outside of the mayor's attorney.
That has nothing to do with it.
So you guys feel that kind of way solely because it affects you guys personally.
Blame every, no,
Because
no.
I matter of fact, all I really have to do actually
I
is
have
say.
told everybody on this council, I have told everybody, you get two people that ask me to resign, and I'll be glad to resign. I have told everybody on this council. But it's just Dante. It's just
Well,
Dante.
I'm the first.
It's just Dante.
I'm the first.
It's just Dante.
I'm the
It's
first.
just Dante, because you can't get along with anybody.
Okay.
all right?
That's
That's it.
Hey, come on.
That's it. Well,
He
who
can't
said that?
separate his,
Hey, John, you're the one that
personal
wanted to
from
change
his
the agenda.
professionalism. No.
Yeah, right,
That's it.
okay.
Is there,
All right. That's again.
is there an amendment? Is there a walk-on? What are we doing? Can we get back to it?
I don't have a walk-on motion. I don't know what we're talking about.
Again, for my 3 resolutions that I put in on Wednesday afternoon to be walked onto this agenda item because I put them on a timely manner.
There.
He
You
said,
got copies of the resolutions to hand out to the council?
yes, I do. Actually, I have a few. If you can hand those over to Liz, just 4 of you guys. That's all. I have it
You
already.
need to make 3 motions. Which one do you want to start with?
Yep. You can hand all 3 of them.
A walk-on motion is one time.
The first walk-on motion will be for the support of the Beach Avenue Park. That's the first one.
And what item?
What line item? That would be item number 11, I guess, since we have 10 items today. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. No, we've had walk-ons before, and they've always been right. So the wording has to be precise.
Well, I don't have the resolution in front of me, so I can't see it to give you the wording.
Is that the Beach Avenue one? Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you. Okay. Oh no, this is the legal counsel. I'm gonna do the. All right, so this resolution is supporting the allocation of funds for the development of Beach Avenue Park on allocated property on Beach Avenue. I have to get the one that I originally sent. This is not mine. The original. No, never. I got it. You have it. Anyone who has the Beach Avenue, because it's out there. Where is? Come on. Yeah, you can bring them. Yes, that's the sentence. Yes. Thank you much. Okay. All right. So, resolution supporting the allocation of funds for the development of a new community center and park on the north end of Niagara Falls. Do you want me to read the whereas? Okay, I'll read the whole thing. Whereas the north end of the Niagara Falls has historically been neglected, leading to deterioration and closing of essential community sources such as the Center Avenue Center, the YMCA being turned into a homeless shelter, and the 13th Street Center. Whereas the residents of the north end has long expressed community center and a decent park to enhance the quality of life and promote community engagement and provide safe recreational space. Whereas United Vision, led by Arlene Doss-Jackson, has developed a comprehensive and visionary plan to build a new community center and park on Beach Avenue in the north end of Niagara Falls. And whereas the proposed project aligns with the city's goals of revitalizing underserved neighborhoods, promoting social cohesion, and providing equitable access to public amenities, and whereas there are available Greenway funds and American Rescue Plan funds that could be utilized to bring this much-needed project to fruition. Whereas the requested allocation for $4 million from these funds represents an investment in the future of the North End and the broader Niagara community, addressing the long-standing disparities in the public infrastructure and services. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Niagara Falls, New York, that this City Council fully supports the allocation for $4 million from the Greenway funds or American Rescue Plan funds, or a combination thereof, for development of a new community center and park on Beach Avenue on the north end of Niagara Falls. And be it further resolved that this council urges all relevant city department committees and agencies to prioritize and expedite the planning, approval, and implementation process for this project. Be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the mayor of Niagara Falls, the Greenway Commission, American Rescue Plan Oversight Committee, and any other relevant stakeholders to ensure swift action on this critical initiative.
Okay. Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, Brian seconds that motion. Okay. Now, do we have any objections?
Questions first.
Questions first. Questions, go ahead.
Ask for each individual item or just as a whole. In your correspondence to us, there's some issue with the resolutions as they're written, correct?
The issues vary depending on the resolution. On this one, the primary issue is the city charter creates a separation of powers between the legislative branch and the executive branch. My review of this resolution as written would run afoul of that, because what it purports to do is to stand in the shoes of the mayor to tell his administrative staff what they should be working on, and that is the mayor's role. No council resolution can interfere with his role or pretend to subsume that role. For that reason, if passed, it will be a nullity. I don't see the point of proceeding on anything that's a nullity, and this one would be a nullity.
Okay. That resolution states there's $4 million. I'm familiar with the grant. From what I know, there is no $4 million in that grant. At least not this year.
We're talking about two different grants. We're talking about the ARP funds and the Greenway. So if whatever the Greenway funds cannot support, there's plenty of millions of dollars left.
So you're taking all that money, and putting it into the park. Let's forget about restoration of High Park.
The $4.5 million that we're going to spend for a dog shelter at our park. How about that?
Think about this is the council asking questions. So we're gonna forget about restoration at Hyde Park? We're
No,
gonna forget
we're,
about
we're going to
restoration at
forget
Hyde Park?
about,
We're gonna
we
forget
just
about,
voted for 4.5.
let's,
$4.5 million in the park. One, that is not even zoned. I'm gonna say that on record so y'all can hear this. That park is not even zoned for us to have a dog shelter on there to begin with. And we went on ahead and voted with $4.5 million of ARP funds for a dog park without an RFP. How about that one too?
so you think this is responsible? Okay, all right, okay.
So I know it's responsible. We care about, so we care about putting somebody in business versus.
Let's stay on task.
Yeah,
for this.
but
Let's stay on
that's
task.
what it is. We're talking. He asking me, what about A, B,
No,
and
I'm
C?
just asking, what do okay, you're pulling out money from all different sources for that, that's what you're saying.
It's a mixture. It's a
That's
mixture of
what
both.
you're saying, okay.
Whatever
All right.
whatever Greenway funds don't cover, ARP can cover.
All right, okay, I understand what you're saying now. Okay, so, all right. So, so that's information. Any other questions? Opposition? Opposing? Okay, I have some serious problems with it because I think it's irresistible, but, no.
What problems do you have with it, Chairman?
I have problems with it. I think it's irresponsible.
It's irresponsible to take care of our youth and our young people and our elderly in
Stay
the
on
Northland.
topic. You want to stay on topic, Dante?
You just said you think it's.
So, okay, we're voting to put it on the agenda. We're voting to put it on the agenda. That's what
We're in
we're
trouble.
doing, so. All right.
We're in trouble.
So, yeah.
Excuse me.
He doesn't live in the North End.
We're voting,
He don't care.
voting to put it on the agenda as item. Okay. Item number 11. Yeah, I'm just writing it down. Okay, walk on number 11. And the title of that is, what is that title?
Resolution supporting the allocation of funds for the development of a new community center and park in the north end of Niagara Falls.
Okay, application of funds, walk on, community development. Center, okay. All right, so let's call the roll for the walk on.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Based on the input from Corporation Council, no.
and Council Chairperson Perry.
I have to say no, it's irresponsible.
So, excuse me. Thank you. So we have two nays and two yays. We got a lot of yays over here. So, excuse me, so in order.
We put them in their seats. You just remember this is what you do. Because time is ticking. So what you do is you remember that we put them there, okay?
So with this being, we have two yeas and two nays, Council Chairperson.
Okay, that's, nay, the nays have failed, resolutions failed. Okay. Second?
Second.
Second agenda item?
One moment.
Ma'am,
Excuse
could
me.
I ask you to be quiet, please?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I had 3 agenda items. I just put one down. It was voted down. I'm gonna put another one because everything that I'm saying tonight is on record and everybody's vote is on record. So we will be able to see exactly who voted for what and who didn't vote for what. And then, so when that time comes, that take down time, then you remember it then. I just want to get it all out on record right now. So give people the opportunity to vote it down. All right? So, number 2. Resolution requesting engaging independent legal counsel for the city of Niagara Falls, the Niagara Falls City Council. Whereas the city of Niagara Falls operate under a system of government that requires checks and balances among its branches. And whereas the city council represents the legislative branch of government responsible for enacting laws, appropriating funds, and representing the interests of citizens of Niagara Falls. And whereas the city attorney is currently serving at the pleasure of the mayor and the administration, and has a primary responsibility to provide legal advice and representation to all branches of the city government. And whereas concerns have been raised regarding the ability of the current city attorney, Mr. Thomas DuBois, to effectively represent the council in a manner that upholds the independence and integrity of the legislative branch. And whereas it is imperative that the city council has access to an impartial legal advice to effectively fulfill its duties and responsibilities. And whereas the city council lacks, and that's me, confidence in the ability of Mr. DuBois to prioritize the best interests of the legislative branch and its members in legal matters affecting the city council's operation and decisions. And whereas the engagement of independent legal counsel will ensure that the city council has access to objective and dedicated legal representation. Now therefore be it resolved that the city of Niagara Falls, the Niagara Falls City Council hereby requests the engagement of outside legal counsel to provide independent legal support and representation for the city council. And be it further resolved that the city council shall allocate the necessary funds from its budget to secure such legal services, ensuring that the independent counsel is qualified and capable of representing the council's best interests. Be it finally resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, and the city council will proceed with the necessary steps to identify and retain a suitable and independent legal counsel.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion? A second? No second? Okay, the motion is defeated.
Well, that's his lady.
Okay.
Also, number 3, since it's defeated, City Council of Niagara Falls, New York, requesting the resignation of Council James Perry from the chairman position due to unethical conduct and abuse of power. Whereas the city of Niagara Falls is committed to upholding the rights and freedoms of its citizens, including the First Amendment right to free speech. Amen. And whereas the city council holds a duty to serve the public with integrity, transparency, and respect for the democratic process. And whereas it has come to the intention of the council that Council Chairman James Perry has engaged in actions that have been unethical and abuse of his power, specifically by attempting to silence constituents during the good of the community portion of the recent council meeting. And whereas Council Chairman Perry's action included directing the police to escort constituents away from the microphone, thereby violating her constitutional rights to free speech and exposing the city of Niagara Falls to potential legal action. And whereas the action of Council Chairman has been undermining the trust and the confidence of the public in leadership of the City Council and have brought a disrepute to the office he holds. And whereas it is imperative that the leadership of the City Council adheres to the highest ethical standards and respect the rights of all citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Niagara Falls, New York, that this council hereby requests the immediate resignation of James Perry from his position as council chairman. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to James Perry, the mayor, and all of the relevant city officials and departments.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
Can I say something? So we don't need a resolution to remove a chair. To my understanding, we don't need a resolution to remove our chair.
Correct.
Hold on before you get ready to do what you're doing. What I feel like the problem, it is not the problem that we think it is, why these two men may be under exorbitant duress. I don't know what's happening here, but I don't think. Listen, and I'm gonna say this one time, and then we need to move on with business. I feel like people are here explaining things that they don't need to. I think that they are being put in positions that they shouldn't have to be in. That's our corporate counsel and our chairperson, which doesn't allow them to interact with other council people with dignity and respect, which allows it to flow out into this gallery, which is unacceptable. I will apologize for that even though I wasn't the one that did it. But removing them is not the response that we should have. Changing the charter is what we need to get to work on doing if we want to effectively do something that actually changes the dynamic of the city council chamber. I am going to say, like, this is, and we really have to, like, stop. Like, people are laughing at us. They wait to come here to see us. Can you give me a second, please? Like, this is ridiculous. Let's come here, handle the people's business, and if we need to discuss something after with them as a group, in another setting, in a community center, any place that let's set those meetings up and let's do that. But to wait every 2 weeks to come here and take 35, 45 minutes to back and forth banter so they can Facebook us live and take photos and record and oh, they crazy. This is not, I didn't sign up for this. And I don't think anybody else did. So let's put some respect back into the reason that we actually ran and do the things that we need to do.
But at the
And
end
stop with this infighting. Like we have to stop.
But you know,
That's all I want to say is we have to cut it out.
I hear what you're saying.
And it's a we because I'm sitting up here with you all. Like, let's stop.
But watch this. Here's where my issue is that when these certain issues pop up and it feels like there's a level of injustice that takes place in local government, because just as you saying that people are coming in there laughing at us, when we treat our constituents, the ones that vote us in, the way we treated them, then that's another laughable matter as well. And so don't nobody say nothing, because I'm not, if you know me, I'm different. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm not gonna sit back and be passive about it. If it's a problem, I'm gonna say it. And guess what? If we're gonna fix it, we're gonna fix it, or we're gonna sit back and just let it go and let it do what it do. And then 5, 10 years from now, everybody people in the community is gonna be having the same issues, the same problems, the same lack of trust in government. That's a fact. So it's not just bickering. What it is just calling a spade a spade. That's all. But I mean, again, I'm glad that I'm able to put it on record, and that's all. So we can move on. It's on record.
Okay, as I said. No second. Okay. Done.
For clarity purposes.
Yes,
reporting
okay.
purposes, is there a second to this?
Is there a second? No second? Okay, motion's defeated.
There is a second. It's called voting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, back to review and approve. Okay. Okay.
Also, I think City Council needs to sit back and remember exactly.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, we're
Yeah, I'm just catching up here after all this, back and forth stuff here.
we're at page 2 of
Agenda
the
items,
scripted
yeah.
agenda.
Uh,
Page 2 of the scripted agenda, paragraph 2, where you ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as proposed.
okay. Okay. Okay, so,
On the scripted
Therefore,
agenda,
yeah.
page 2.
I got notes all over the place here, we got so many damn notes. Okay, okay. Review and adopt the agenda items. Do I have a motion to, we've reviewed the agenda items, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda items as, or amend?
As proposed.
As proposed by now, yeah, okay, as proposed. I have a motion, please.
Motion.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Liz, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
No.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes,
3 yeas, 1 nay.
motion's adopted. Yeas have it. Okay. All right, moving on to review of the minutes from September 4th. Are there any changes for the September 4th meeting minutes? No? If none, then we'll let them be read, let them go into the minutes. Okay. Moving on to part 6. Information from the city clerk.
So, the City Clerk's Office has received and filed a notice to the council regarding resolutions 2024-23 and 2024-24 approved by the mayor. Those are received and filed, and also the planning board's recommendation to approve student housing zoning ordinance with new amendment ideas for council to consider has also been received and filed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion for legislative item number 1?
Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve the allocation of $200,000 of home ARP funds by the Department of Community Development to Heart, Love, and Soul, Inc., and authorize the mayor to execute any documents necessary to proceed with disbursements of the same as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12, 2024.
May I have a second, please? Brian can't do it.
Oh, you can't? Oh, second. If he on the speaker. Yes,
He's
of course.
he's on the board, he can't second.
Yeah, no, I get it.
He's excused. All right. Liz, call the roll, please.
Questions?
Before we call the roll, we have to go through questions.
Oh, sorry, yeah, okay. Any questions? Any opposition? Okay. Brian, you have to, Brian's
He's
has.
gonna call the roll.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, call the roll.
Councilmember Archie,
Staying due to conflict of interest.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes,
3 yeas.
3 yeas, motion's adopted. Okay, legislative item number 2. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve contract award for bid number 2024-14 to Buffalo Garage Door, Inc. to provide and install 15 garage bay doors at the DPW Central Garage, all as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12th, 2024.
May I have a second, please?
I can second that.
Brian, second. Okay, any questions? Any opposition? Liz, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes,
4 yeas.
4 yeas, motion's carried. Moving on to legislative item number 3. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve the award of a fleet vehicle purchase contract to BJA 1695 LLC for 3 new vehicles needed by the engineering department and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with the said vendor as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12th, 2024.
May I have a second, please? A second?
Yeah, second, with a question.
A question?
Are we hiring out or just replacing what we have? Have we hired out to bring in new people for these vehicles? Or are we replacing what is currently in use? Are we replacing what's currently in use?
Replacing what's currently in use for the engineering department.
Mr. Boyd, with these, if these are purchased, will those be the only 3 for the engineering department? Like, is it fully replacing all that they have?
That I don't know. I don't know if they have more than 3 currently.
Okay.
Unless some of the vehicles are short.
Opposition? Okay. Liz?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
I feel like this will reach, it's more ARP money. I'm not voting on that. No, I'm not voting on that.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
3 yeas, 1 nay.
Motion's carried. 3 yeas. Motion, item number 5. May I have a motion, please?
4.
4, I'm sorry, 4. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that council vote to approve the award of a fleet vehicle purchase contract to BJA 1675 LLC for 5 new vehicles needed by the code enforcement department and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with said vendor as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation dated September 12th, 2024.
Okay. May I have a second on that, please?
So this time I'm gonna ask. I have a question.
Yes.
Before the question, there has to be a second.
Yes, I'll second. Okay.
Funding,
Question?
funding, how are we paying? Do we know how we're paying?
Speak up, please.
Do we know how we're paying?
More ARP.
I need to hear.
The item, the recommendation memo from the mayor indicates funding is available through the American Rescue Plan funds under the Treasury Guidance Expenditure Category 6.1, which is quote, revenue replacement for the provision of government services, period, end quote.
I can't hear you, sir. Pay out when we get reimbursed.
It will be a disbursement from the ARP funds.
So it's not a reimbursement. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, the city doesn't have to pay out first to get reimbursed. It's a direct draw from our ARP funds.
Of what's currently in use.
Yes.
Question, any other questions?
Mr. Du Bois, do we know what's going to be happening with the cars they currently have?
Our purchasing department usually takes care of disposing of all used property. If the cars are in some kind of marketable condition, they might be sold or resale, they may be sold to a dealer. Those that are too far gone might just be scrapped. I don't know the detailed condition of each vehicle to be replaced.
Okay. So this is replacing the entire fleet of that department?
I don't know about the total fleet size of that department.
Can we?
Another question?
Table.
What?
Table.
Well, this is for the city assessor, right?
I can't.
No, we're on 4.
Yeah, where's the hell is their fan? Their fan is like. Okay.
Yeah, and from memory, from walking through the parking lot for some years, I don't have a reliable count of the number of cars that we have in the fleet.
That fan is like driving me crazy out there. That's the one back there.
The fan is very disturbing.
It's hot. Can we motion to table at this point?
An air conditioner instead of a car.
Till further information? Can we motion to table at this point?
We could.
That motion could be made. I do not favor motion to table. I prefer a motion to postpone. If you make that motion, it can be phrased as motion to postpone until further information is received.
Well, motion to postpone until further information is received.
Motion to table?
Motion postpone. Postpone.
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
What would be the difference? Because
It's not, it's if you table and you don't bring it back in a certain time, it kills
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
That's exactly right. Councilor French.
Okay.
The rule is that when you table something, you start a clock whether you know it or not. If you don't pull that item off from the table at the very next meeting and act on it, it becomes dead. It expires and it's dead. By using postpone, you avoid that risk. Thank you.
So the motion is to postpone
Yes,
item number 4,
yes.
correct?
second.
Okay. So second to postpone legislative item number 4. Okay. Liz, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Archie?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac?
Based on the need for further information, I would say yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas. The motion to postpone item number 4 is carried. Okay, moving on to item number 5. Could I have a motion for item number 5, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve the award of a fleet vehicle purchase contract to BJA 1675 LLC for one new vehicle either by the office of the city assessor and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with the said vendor as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12th, 2024.
Could I have a second, please?
I'll second that. It's 1.
Okay. Any information, questions?
Is the vehicle inoperable that they have right now?
The vehicle that the assessor's office has is, I believe, still in operation, apart from the parking lot.
Opposition? Okay, Liz?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion's carried. Moving on to item number 6. Could I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that council vote to approve and authorize the mayor to execute a change order in the amount of $17,653 for unanticipated additional plumbing repairs and floor restoration work in the basement of City Hall that was required of D.B. Brown and Associates, Inc., as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12, 2024.
Could I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, Brian seconds it. Okay, any information requests? Any opposition?
Mr. Boyd, just a quick question. Obviously, I'm not sure if you would know this or not. Is there any thing in the works to possibly update the entire system, or is the boiler system kind of what we're married to for the foreseeable future?
Okay, I'm happy to say I have an answer for you. Okay. It's just by accident, but I do. I was involved in a conversation regarding
Power Authority grant, which is coming to the city. It was explained to me that the Power Authority selected projects, a buffet of projects, maybe 3 or 4 choices, and one of them was to replace the boiler, which is quite old and not energy efficient. And so at some point in the next year, that boiler will be modernized with state-of-the-art, latest technology boiler, which is good news. However, that doesn't mean that all the work that this licensed plumber, D.V. Brown, did is wasted or lost, because the issue there was all the piping that runs up and down the 3 floors and connects to that boiler was leaking from various points. And during the project, it was discovered that some of the leaks were occurring in piping beneath the basement floor. So the unexpected work required them to break open the basement floor, get to the pipes, repair them, stop the leaks, and then restore the floor. And that's what the change order is for.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, motion's carried. Action item number 7. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that council vote to approve the city's participation in a shared services intergovernmental agreement and authorize the mayor to execute the same in order to save money and improve the city's cybersecurity for 3 years of free service provided by CrowdStrike, as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12th, 2024.
Could I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Information requests? Opposition? Okay, Liz?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, motion's carried. Item number 8. Do I have a motion for item 8?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that council vote to approve and authorize DPW to install 5-foot wide handicap access spaces in front of 3 city residences, all as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated September 12th, 2024.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Brian, second it. Okay, information requests? Opposition? Okay, Liz, please call the roll.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, motion's carried. Resolution number 9, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that council vote to approve the resolution relative to the council's adoption of the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, information?
Not so much information. I would like to thank Councilmember Archie for clarifying for me before the meeting that this isn't locking the city into any set projects. It's kind of like the city gets to pick what they do and don't want to do. Is that correct?
Which means that we don't have to run away from fossil fuels.
Right.
It may have been stated, there are several other opportunities for us to become a climate smart community and utilize, if possible, some of the free-flowing green energy that comes past here.
Right. Yep. So I appreciate that, and obviously having this advisory committee put together and kind of guide us or recommend to us some steps that we may want to take as a city. The LED lighting program, also as Councilmember Archie reminded me of the possible solar project in Love Canal area. Those are things that may qualify for some of the steps in this process. So thank you to Councilmember Archie for clarifying that for me, as I was slightly hesitant on it, but I feel a lot more at ease with your clarification. So thank you.
Okay, any opposition? No. Okay, Elizabeth, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac?
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes.
4 yeas.
Yeas have it, 4 yeas. Okay, resolution item number 10. Could I have a motion for item number 10, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that council vote to approve the resolution relative to improving the quality of life for people living with disabilities.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Information request? Okay, opposition?
No oppositions. I'm just praying that it's not a box checker. We had multiple task force back when, like with the health disparities task force, we had a public safety task force, and we had spent I was on one of those task force, and nothing came about it. I just hope that we're not doing this to appease, because people with disabilities, I have a son who is autistic. I have people in my family, friends who deal with disabilities, and it's a real thing, and it doesn't need to be something that's just a check box so we can say we had a meeting and we did this. So I'm hoping that it's something that's solid.
Yes.
Councilmember Archie?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac?
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas have it. Okay. Okay, now, on to the public speaking portion of our program. I'd like to start off by saying, a couple weeks ago, when I sit up here, we have a list of rules that we have to go by. And, like an empire, sometimes you have to make a judgment call, and you have to do it quickly sometimes. And, sometimes people don't like your call, but because of item number 12, I sit here and I have to make a judgment call on some things. And some people don't like that. And other people, they say, oh, good, good. And other people don't. So, it's like if you're driving down Buffalo Avenue, the speed limit's 30 miles an hour, and someone's driving 35 miles an hour, and you say, Jesus, the guy's speeding. Well, when do you let them go? 35, 40, 45, 50? You wait till they get in a crash? So, after speaking with my colleagues, You know, they say, well, give them a little bit more leniency, let them go a little bit more, let them go. So, you know, okay, I get it. Brian, thank you. Oh, ease up a little bit. Gerald, got your message, okay? Let it go up a little bit more. And we'll see what happens. I got the message. All right, so with that, Liz, please give your first person a call up here.
All right, so our first speaker is, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, I have Lovey Gutierrez. Lori. Sorry, it's like Leon.
Good evening. This is my council meeting, and holy cow, you got my blood boiling, that's all I know. I was advised that tonight you were voting on what last Wednesday's meeting was with the board, zoning board, which was this Love Canal property that they want to put solar panels on, which I'm having a fit. I recently moved to Vincent Morello Senior Housing. My apartment faces these woods, as does 4 buildings of us. The other side is 93rd Street. There are houses that face the woods. None of us want to look at solar panels. The girl from the New York State Energy Redevelopment Agency, whatever, Amanda, she was here. She did answer most of my questions, but so like they're not going to drill into the ground. They only have a shelf life of 25 years, so then what are you doing with them? They're going to sit in this lot, or are you going to put them in our landfill when they're done? I asked why they would have the expense of ripping out woods when there is fenced-in flatland Love Canal off of Colvin, and on the other side of us, we are from Colvin to Frontier Avenue between 93rd and 95th Street. I don't want my woods taken. I'm having, so anyway, it is those woods apparently. I want to know what else I could do to stop that from happening, because it is not on the agenda tonight unless it's under your resolution number 9, the smart energy. So that's the reason I'm here, because Anthony Restaino told me about last week's meeting and tonight's meeting. This is what I'm complaining about. So it was supposed to be passed today by you, and it's not. There was an article in yesterday's Gazette saying they approved it unanimously. But I asked them at the meeting, are you voting on this? They said, no, the city council does. Yet it's not on this agenda. So where do I go from here? Who do I complain about? What do I gotta do? Petitions? I have never seen solar panels in a residential area. They wanna change the zoning from residential to this OS. I get the reason, because it's city property and they're not making any money, which then they'll get money from a leased company. However, I also asked this girl, why aren't they getting a hold of the people that own the flat land that's fenced in already that you could build on? She said it's owned by several LLCs and they have been unable to reach them. I find that hard to believe, that you can't find a frickin' phone number. But anyway, so what can I do to stop that from happening? Pardon me?
The rules for public speaking, number 9 states, the council does not respond to questions or statements that you make during your speech. But just so you know, there was no vote tonight on the matter. It sounds like it went through the planning board. It has not reached the council yet, and I don't know when it might, but you've already made the first step by expressing your opinions. So stay tuned and watch for future agendas, because if it came out of the planning board, it'll end up here eventually. And that's all we can say about it at this point.
Because I get text messages every day from the city about the library hours and when pools open and close and when there's repairs or water main breaks. However, I never get a message about a meeting, ever.
I don't either. Nobody. They hide it. They hid the agenda a long time ago.
Okay.
All I can say is that the council webpage is
And they are every 2 weeks?
It's every 2 weeks, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Our next speaker is Arlene Doss.
Good evening. I want to revisit the Beach Avenue Park project. Based on the municipal park open space and recreation land replacement requirement enacted in 1975, reference CGS 7-131 requires towns to replace parks, open spaces, and lands used for recreation when they, for other reasons and other purposes, replace it of equal or greater value. And I have to openly say, it's an insult because those mics are open when you hold your head down and disrespect everybody in this chambers. We have worked very hard on a resolution to get Beach Avenue Park built. That should be one of the main considerations of everybody here on this council. We spent probably over $300,000 to individuals to come in and do assessments, draw drawings for us, and then we hold our head down and act like it is no concern of ours whatsoever. Again, at some point, I really would like to see the city council show and deliver some concern for the people and not automobiles and not benches and not all these dilly-dally things that you can hand out and say, we've done something, do something for the people. In addition to that, I read information regarding the allocation of American Rescue Funds for this animal shelter. I don't understand where there is millions of dollars out here on multiple websites that you can get every dollar you want for an animal shelter. I listed every one of them. Maybe you don't have a grant writer, and maybe that's something the city council wants to invest in, and administrative staff who can write grants and also make sure we are not wasting the government and the people's money just saying we can do whatever we want to do, because I don't care, you don't care about the north end of the city of Niagara Falls. Unacceptable, completely. And I'm going to leave because I got a temper.
Evening. I come before you a parent of 2 disabled children and a member of the Niagara Falls Special Education PTA with over 64 members. As it stands right now, Hyde Park is the only municipal park with a disability-inclusive playground. Speaking on behalf of the disabled children and adults in Niagara Falls, the misappropriation of ARP funds and the parkland alienation is discriminatory towards disabled residents in Niagara Falls. Okay, so I just want to be clear so you understand. Parkland alienation goes back to the time of Magna Carta and what you do with a park once deemed by the city. You can get away with roads and bike paths approved by the state and the feds. You can get away with a community center because it's in the spirit of getting people outdoors and a service to the community. A dog shelter doesn't do that. I don't know how it's going to pass state and federal approval, but I just want you guys to understand that was approved on. And the ARP funds should be used for the Beach Avenue Park. The park will promote public health, provides inclusive outdoor space for people with disabilities of all ages. Close to the park is Calfus Elementary School that has expanded its autism classrooms with kids from all over the district because our city school district uses regionalizing, meaning to pick 1 or 2 schools to send the majority to. like all of the ESL students, are over at Mann. So the majority of the children with autism will be at Calfus and some at Bond. So you've got a lot of parents already coming over there, seeing parts of the city they might not normally see, and now you should offer them a park so they can take their kids to and get people to see the rest of it. Right? The Beach Avenue Park project, on top of everything else, you're messing, as she stated, with federal mandate. I have seen the New York Yankees get fined. I was raised in New York City. When the Yankees needed a new stadium, they bought the park next door and said, we'll knock down the old stadium and build you a park. It was delayed, so they got massive fines because they couldn't stop the Yankees, but they got massive fines for this. Yet again, I don't understand why we are playing with the law and fire, because now we're endangering and messing with federal mandates and federal disability rights and the civil rights of the citizens. And that brings me to the state of the park in Hyde Park, and it's supposed to be an inclusive playground. It is in poor shape, and that matters to me because we're supposed to be managing that. We're supposed to be on top of that. I have provided information to the head of DPW about that. All that equipment there is warranted. We just have to contact the company. I have the guy's number. I've not heard back from the head of DPW about it. And this is the same agency that's going to be tasked with managing the dog shelter. Imagine that. And when you manage a dog shelter, you're responsible for the tenant. And it's going to bring issues of rats and stuff, which is already a problem because apparently the mayor can't make these meetings, but he's over in LaSalle talking about rats. So I just want to end on that we have a responsibility to the rest of the city, to each other. And I've seen this city put a lot of strain on certain sections. Too many Airbnbs in LaSalle, we districted it. We didn't like the college kids in DeVoe. We pushed everything on the center city, and the people in Niagara Falls proper keep having to carry the weight when the rest of the more affluent sections of the city are inconvenienced. That's one I wanted to mention. Two, I wanted to state this committee for disabilities. I don't know why one organization was chosen, Empower wasn't chosen. I didn't get word of it, and my wife didn't get word of it. And we've got a school district, and she's the president of the special education PTA. So somehow this decision, yet again, was made by only those that can get to Saltarelli's pork store, and those of us who aren't invited don't get to know about what's going on. Because I assure you, we contacted Lockport and asked them what is going on. They're like, you should have a disability committee. We didn't. So apparently one was formed in the time that we talked to Lockport about a month ago, and no word was mentioned to the public.
Good evening. I hope tonight doesn't go like it did the last meeting for me when I was asked to leave the podium with intimidation by a police officer after speaking one sentence. All I wanted to do was talk about FOIL information that I received from the clerk and some discrepancies I found. But now I'm going to change course because I want to talk about what for the good of the community really means. Is there a clear definition or just an interpretation of what that statement really means? The rules for public speaking are quite interesting. They are rules set in place as a tool that can easily be used to silence the person speaking at the podium like myself. For the good of the community, I suggest you throw that board propped on the table out front into the dumpster. Number one, put a closed sign on the front door of City Hall while you're at it. I'm not gonna be less than frank when I'm up here with my 5 minutes of precious time. This building seems as if it's closed for business and has been taken over by socialists. You cannot make appointments with the council, you cannot speak to the mayor, no one answers emails or calls, and everyone seems to be out sick or on vacation. Does anyone still work here? You cannot walk freely to any office and are stopped by security barriers and a security guard at the front that no one can go past. This building feels like it holds top secrets. There is no transparency, and you have to FOIA request everything. That takes months if you are even lucky to get any information at all. If anyone has been paying attention to the absurd actions in this room, you will all know that it has not been me creating the circus. And these are not my monkeys, just so you know. I have been a target here. My name has been crossed off the list to speak. My name has not been called, and I was first to speak one meeting, but instead, starting at the bottom of page 2, so I would be last and the room could be cleared. Now, I have a right to be upset. I have been targeted intentionally. The snide remarks of someone saying they dread to hear me speak when I get up to the podium, when I finally beg to please let me speak. I stay here till 10 o'clock at night. And then I hear on the video the next day, I'm dreading this. I deserve respect. I'm a human being. I'm a very rational human being. But when I'm pushed, I'm not going to be nice. I'm going to be very frank. I will be your friend, but if you cross me, I will tell you the truth. I'm not going to run and hide. I'm very open and honest. I've been called names, and I've also been suspended for weeks for doing absolutely nothing but coming up here and expressing concerns as a community member of the goings on, because I care about animals deeply. I care about people deeply. But animals are I'm very passionate about that. And this pit chick deal has been wrong from the beginning. I didn't originally come in here in January to talk about the pit chick, but I've learned so much about what's going on there, and it's very disheartening that no one's listening, because our dogs are being drugged with sedatives, trazodone and acepromazine, to quiet them down from barking. Think about being held prisoner 24/7 in a kennel. Someone feeds you when they want to feed you, lets you out to go to the bathroom when they say you can, and otherwise you lay in your own urine and your own feces. You're at the mercy of a human being. Now, if somebody doesn't do something about this, I'll make sure that this place is shut down. Her contract ends at the end of December. I want to see an RFP for a new vendor the way it should have been from the beginning, when the mayor said it was an emergency, which it was not, and that's clearly available, that information all online has been talked about for years. SPCA was leaving municipal contracts. He said he was going to do an RFP beginning of January 2023, and he did not. He let her roll, and her full is 17 dogs for $20,000, $268 a month. And dogs are being euthanized. I've counted 14 in the records that I have. And they're friendly dogs. They sit in there for months, and they're not advertised. She don't even have a sign on her building, and no one knows where to collect their animals. This is a disgrace.
Good evening, good evening. So where to start? So real quick, again, I'm talking about the solar project. That's part of the climate thing. Just plopping down solar panels, there's a higher usage for that land. You plop them down. She already stated it, but
there's other better uses for that land. We put them on, they're trying to put them in Highland. If we're gonna do something with solar panels, if anything, we should be making them, not just plopping them down and letting the birds poop on them, letting the animals just get all around them. That is totally, there's a higher use for land. That's not good governance. So going back to good governance, of course, having an agenda put out for the people, and even having an agenda for the council come out on Friday to vote for it on Wednesday, that's how you get time problems. It should be it should be thoughtful time to vet the agenda items. So that's also not good governance. We can do better. What's also irresponsible is that she's still operating. That's just irresponsible, egregious, reckless. The money's going to Grand Island. Money's going to this vet. Money's going to that vet. Money to kill this dog. Money to kill that dog. Our money to do all this stuff. Totally irresponsible. That's what's really irresponsible. Anything, the fact that she still has, that this vendor has anything to do with this city, that's irresponsible. Wholly irresponsible. So, and going to her contract, what she was just saying, let's go to it. This agreement, section 2 of her contract, this agreement shall remain in effect from September 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. That's 3 months. That's what she's talking about, where there should be RFPs. There should be information being released. Let's find who can really operate this shelter as it should be operated. Let's find out who's gonna spend the people's money like it should be spent. But it continues there. Provided that such agreement is not earlier terminated. That's in the contract. Didn't someone say we can't terminate this agreement earlier? It's right there in the contract. Provided that such agreement is not earlier terminated as provided hereunder. If mutually agreeable, the parties may extend this agreement annually for up to 2 additional years through December 31st, 2026 under the same terms and conditions contained here and therein. It would be irresponsible to put the pit chick in our own DPW building. That would be irresponsible. It would be irresponsible to put $4.5 million of ARP money into that building. That's irresponsible, egregious, reckless. Just imagine you cooking out at Hyde Park, grilling some dogs, grilling some burgers, and next thing you know, the wind blows and you're like, the second largest municipal park outside in the New York State, outside of New York City, you grilling dogs, have your kids out there, and you smell God knows what. That's irresponsible. And since we on the ARP money, here's what I would love to see. Action item, just some of the people. In the beginning, this is talk about the park. We're talking about this. Part of the American Rescue Plan funds, there were 6 buckets that this money was designated for. $26 million. 26 million, that's half, that's almost half. The money was over $50 million. Some places may say 57, some may say 59, but I'm just gonna make it round off, 50. More than half, about half, $26 million was supposed to be designated, allocated, and spent on, guess what? The community. The community. $26 million. But I want to go further. There are 6 buckets. People, you want to get engaged, we got to start asking this question. How much money has been allocated and spent in these 6 buckets? Let's count them out. Community, public safety, city-owned buildings, business, MWBE businesses, city operations, and budget reinforcement. There's certain designated money that's supposed to be spent and allocated in these buckets. Can we please, for all that is good governance, have an account of what we spent and what's to be allocated? What we supposed to and what's left. And then we know where we stand. Thank you.
Yes, that's the last one.
Okay, thank you. Meeting's adjourned.